from Canberra. This is another episode of On the Right Track with your host, as always, Maggie Wright. We've got my mate Rory in the studio today. We're going to be talking some World Cup and some Quidditch or quad ball. So that's the topics of today. Let's get into it. Rory, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous, thank you. The World Cup, the thing that rocked the nation as of late.
It's been a beautiful thing. I've loved it every single minute, and I think everybody's embraced the heck out of that.
Yeah, honestly, look, you couldn't have called me a soccer fan before the World Cup, honestly, which as a fairly strong member of the LGBTQ community, I now find is a crime. I don't mind watching the Women's World Cup, well, when it was on.
Yeah, it's really just it was already on the map, but not as high as it should have been. It's really shown the quality of football that women around the world have been able to produce. It's put them on the map in the sense that they're here. They are top dogs. It's not just it. I believe it should be about embracing football regardless of whether it's men and women, but women need to also be put on that same platform as the men, and I think this is a strong step forward in getting there. Definitely not there, but it's on its way there, and I'm so keen for it.
Yeah, which I think is wonderful. And I accidentally got on the Matildas train very early. I was bartending for an event that was watching the very first game, so Ireland, Australia. And after I saw that, I was very happy with what was going on, and I was like, look, you know what, I can get into this. Yeah,
I was very fortunate. I managed to get tickets to that first game.
Wow.
And I was right behind the goals when Steph Catley scored. It was awesome. And even just in the stadium, I'd never been in anything like it, in the sense that you've got 75,000 people all there or at least 95% of them are there to support Australia, and it was the most amazing feeling. From the moment you get off the train to walk into the stadium, everybody's just embracing the surroundings with the food and the people and the singing, the dancing, the atmosphere. And then you get into the stadium, you see your favourite players warm up, and even when that national anthem came on, I'm not usually somebody who's one of the people that just goes along and sings it full belt, but the whole stadium was just so embracing of this, and it was so amazing to see how strong everybody was getting into it.
Yeah, I feel like Australia was a really good platform for this too. I feel like we've really gotten behind everyone, regardless of who they are. Like, I know I was very supportive of Spain coming into the final at the end there, because after what England did to us. I know some people took that very personally and then fixed the result, if you will, on, I think it's FIFA, the sports game. Yeah. It was like 134 to 0.
Yeah, no, I think I saw one of the same videos of that. It's just like, you know what? If it happens on FIFA, that's when it really happens.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was a rough way to go out. But you know what? All we can do is thank those Matildas, because all they did was their best, and their best is better than ever before. And that's honestly all we can ask of them. And you just see how everybody's responded. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a big Tilly's fan now. I should have been before this. This is what I'm saying. Like,
but that's all right. And like you were saying, Australia is one of the best, if not the best, place to be able to grow the game, because of how not just the media but everybody around us just gotten involved. Like, I saw figures this morning. I think something about the team and the value of like sporting teams across the country. They are now the most valuable sports team in the country, the Matildas.
That's what we want to hear.
They're the most valuable. They are now the most watched TV event in Australian history.
That's nuts to me. That's so good.
Like, imagine that 10 years ago. I remember there was one of the players, Egmond, spoke, or there was something on Instagram I found. One of the players mentioned that 10 years ago they were playing in a stadium of about 300 fans. And this was a Matildas game. This is an Australian national sporting event. And then 10 years later you're playing in front of 75,000 people. I couldn't imagine how they were feeling. That would have been one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, especially after Sammy Kerr slammed that one in the back. What was it? Jesus. It was against England.
It was against England.
Oh.
And I remember the commentator was like, she needs support. Somebody needs to get up there. And all of a sudden, just do it yourself. It was amazing. I loved it.
I was sitting in the UC refectory and we had a couple of English fans there, which turned out to be not for the better. But the way everyone just erupted, I saw all my mates just leave their seats and everyone was yelling and cheering. It was just electric. And that was just UC refectory, let alone the actual game, like you said.
I was at the refec as well, and because I was actually on the mic. Like, I was being the MC for the night.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So I was there and, like, part of the setup. And that, out of all the games that we've hosted at the refectory, that was the most crowded. It was full. All the seats were taken. And, like you said, when Sam Kerr scored, we just erupted. We just lost it, and I loved every moment of it. I was going to do an Aussie, oi, oi, oi chant, but I got so sick of hearing that chant over the last 4 weeks, I couldn't do it again. But it was amazing. And credit to England, they played amazing as well, and those fans deserve to feel good after that game. But I can tell you now, as the MC, at the end of it, I was picking up the mic to do like and that's the end of tonight's event. Congratulations to England. I did not want to pick up that microphone. I was so gutted.
Kick-ons at UC refectory. Let's go.
I was so gutted.
Oh.
But it's fine and we're okay because I'll take fourth. Fourth's fantastic.
You know, yeah, well, that's the best we've ever done. And it's in our own backyard. I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Not much more you can ask for, to be honest. Maybe a gold or a bronze or silver. But honestly, looking back, it leaves you speechless.
Yeah, I think what the Matildas have done for not only themselves, but A, women's sport, B, the economy for Australia.
The amount of people it would have just brought around to the games.
Yeah. Yep, and just the culture of football in and of itself is phenomenal. And yeah, that's just, I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, and the long-term ramifications of this, just hopefully the effect of this World Cup ripples into the A-Leagues for the women's teams as well, and hopefully ups their memberships and ups their attendance and hopefully ups the funding and hopefully they can get the attention they deserve like they did over the World Cup.
Absolutely. Yes, women's football. So, well, we've already kind of talked about the first game Rory went to. What about the second game?
The second game I went to or the second game that Australia played?
Either one. What was your oyster?
Oh, what is the oyster? You're telling me. So, actually, let's talk about the second game I went to because I don't want to talk about the loss to Nigeria. That's sad.
Yeah, no, we can. They actually did really well.
They did very well.
I was surprised by them.
Well, and that's also part of the beauty of the World Cup. At the beginning, Australia were ranked 10th in the world and Nigeria were ranked, I believe, 40th. So, I know it's the World Cup, but sometimes you got to sit there and go, that's what the World Cup brings. It brings out the best in everybody, whether you're the top team in the world or whether you're the worst ranked at the tournament. It's anybody's game, especially in sport. You can be the favourite 100-1 and you can still lose it on the day. But yeah, and Nigeria proved that. They were just amazing. They were defensive the whole game, but it won. Yeah, they won 3-2. But yeah, no, and that was it was a hard one as an Aussie fan to watch Australia play that one because we were quite dominant, but we just did nothing with the ball, which we clearly learnt when we went on to play against Canada, winning 4-0 less than a week later. But yeah,
there you go. That's the lesson learnt. Score goals to win soccer.
Correct.
Nice.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I just on like surprising different games that happened. The team that beat Brazil, the name has escaped me, but I know they had to get a crowdfunding page to send their team to the World Cup. Jamaica. And just hearing that, they beat Brazil, which is like the world capital of soccer, arguably.
Yeah, and like like we said before, it's anybody's game, and Jamaica just really made it their own, because I would have put Brazil in my top maybe 6 to win it. You never write off Brazil. They're just always there, and they just weren't. They won in the first game against Panama, but then Jamaica came out and shocked them, and honestly, it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
No, I was happy to see that, like, they just switched it up and the determination of those girls from Jamaica to beat Brazil. That still astounds me. That's just amazing for them.
It's huge. I loved it, and that goes with a few of the other results. Like, for example, New Zealand's first game when they played against, I believe it was Norway or the Philippines, but that was New Zealand's first World Cup goal.
Yeah, wow.
And that was their first World Cup win. I think it might have been their first goal. I might have to double check that, but I know that was their first ever World Cup win.
Yeah,
and
nice.
to do it in the first game of the World Cup that they are hosting in front of a full crowd of their own fans, I could think of nothing better for them. It was amazing. Unfortunately, it was unfortunate they couldn't go through to the finals, but got to give them full credit though.
Yeah. Still, yeah, awesome that they get their first World Cup home rounds.
It would have been amazing too, because I only saw the crowds in Australia, but I couldn't imagine how amazing it would have been to play in New Zealand as well. You could see on the TVs that they just rocked up, and that's been the beautiful thing. Like you mentioned earlier, that everybody's rocking up for all the games. It didn't matter whether Australia playing or New Zealand or any of the bigger countries like England or the US. Everybody just rocked up. Speaking of upsets, USA getting out in the round of 16. I wasn't too mad about that, I'll be honest, but go Sweden. After I saw that, I was like, I'm going to IKEA straight after this. This is going to be amazing.
Going to get another Dunkelsklag.
Correct. But I loved it.
They were very surprised by that. And by they, I mean like the USA team and also the USA.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of upset surrounding that, and even some players having to post things on Instagram like 2 weeks after it happened. It just rocked.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing about assumptions with the World Cup. You can't really bet on it, can you?
Because what happened? There was an ad campaign that went around in the US prior to the World Cup, and it was basically saying, who's going to stop us? But
Sweden.
It's literally.
Who's going to stop us?
IKEA.
Sweden.
Yes, they beat them, and it was the best thing ever. I think that was one of the maybe the second game that I watched that didn't have Australia in it, and I was so happy. That was awesome. It was just, look, credit where it's due. US have won the last 2 World Cups, and you know what? I think it was very much the idea of nobody likes it when there's a dominant team that's there all the time. Just think of the Panthers right now.
I was going to bring that up because Rory's actually very
die-hard,
yes,
born and raised Penrith fan, born, raised, lived. We'll go back to die there. That's fine. But and you see how people have just turned against the Panthers now that it's been 4 years of this might be their 4th year of being one of the favourite teams, and nobody cared before that. And it's like the Sydney Roosters, but nobody likes the Roosters regardless, it's fine. But then there's the Melbourne Storm. People didn't like them for ages just because they were always the top team, and people get sick of them. So I think that was the situation with the US team. Full credit to them for dominating for the last 10 years, but I'm okay with them taking a step aside.
I think I literally said in last week's podcast that anyone but Penrith could win the grand final, and I'd be happy about it.
3-peat, baby, let's go!
No.
Well, back onto the World Cup.
Yep.
USA out earlier, the earliest they've ever been.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad about. I'll be real. As you might be able to tell by the tone of my voice, I'm not too mad.
Yeah, I'm glad that Sam Kerr's girlfriend, I think it's Christy.
Yeah, I was just trying to find that. But
Christy was looking after and supporting the Tildas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We love to see it. And I think because there's a few of them that have got relationships with other players in playing for other countries. So it's definitely also something that obviously we never really see very often or at all in men's sport. So it's really interesting to see how you in the women's game you just see players, oh, you know what, the striker for the Australian team is in a relationship with one of the defenders for the US, but nothing wrong with that. They can go for gold. I think it's just a talking point that everybody loves, which I'm like, each their own.
Yeah, I've seen numerous TikToks where they've been looking at who's in relationships with who and like how it matches up with their teams that they play for outside of the World Cup. Like all the Tottenham relationships, Arsenal, West Ham.
The Arsenal relationship.
I saw the craziness of it.
I'm assuming you talking about Caitlin Ford and Katie McCabe?
Some of that, yes. The animosity in the first game.
Yeah, it was a bit fiery. Obviously, we're not here to spike the speculation. I'm sure it's already been speculated enough. I've got no information that I'm going to say because I've got no idea what actually went on. All I know is people went on a post-season trip to Ibiza.
And look...
who's to say what happened?
I was about to say, isn't it what happens in Ibiza kind of stays there?
Correct.
Just like Vegas?
Correct. What happens in Ibiza stays in Ibiza.
Woo! I just wanted to mention all the thirst traps that I've been seeing of Sam Kerr and all the LGBTQ women coming out of the woodworks, going mad for practically anyone on the Tildas team. I know several people who are like, yep, Sam Kerr's my wife. Yep. And then... especially when I was on the drink watching the games. Whenever Mackenzie Arnold did something fabulous, I was like, that's my wife. That's my wife, yeah. The Minister for Defence, that's my wife.
She's a brick wall.
Absolutely.
She'll stop anything.
Oh, my God. What a woman.
What a woman.
What a woman.
This team. I can't get over it, eh? It's just...
Yeah, it was blowing my mind.
I love it. Like, I've got so outside of the Matildas, I watch football, soccer, whatever people call it, on a very regular basis. And my favourite team is an English team called Chelsea FC, for those that are aware. And Sam Kerr is their striker. So last year, this was a first for me. Not that it should be much of a big thing, but I've got a Sam Kerr jersey at home.
Nice.
From last year's third kit Chelsea jersey with Sam Kerr on the back, and I genuinely believe that's one of my favourite jerseys.
Nice.
But the idea that, like, even just an Australian, doesn't matter, men or women's team, just an Australian playing for Chelsea was huge for me, and for that to be Sam Kerr and the impact she not only has on Chelsea but Australian football is just amazing. Did you see somewhere, I've read that she, gosh, I hope I read this correctly and it's not just a fever dream, but when she was growing up in a FIFA dream, those are the best dreams, man. Those are the best. But yeah, Sam Kerr I believe she had to pretend she was a boy to play in the boys' team.
Yeah, I did see something along the lines of that.
While we're talking, I'm going to try and find that actual information.
Nice.
But yeah, it's sad that you had to do that to get to where we are today. But without those players making those kind of, I guess you can call it a sacrifice early on to follow a sport that they love. And obviously I've got no experience or any kind of knowledge to say anything on this topic, but I couldn't imagine what they would have had to do to get to where they are today. And just to see how it's paying off and it's going to continue growing is just, there's nothing better. There is no bigger feat in sport than what these players do.
It just goes to show how much the women's game has grown and how much support women's, like even in any sport, actually. Like where I was growing up, just a sidetrack, there was no girls tackle, women's tackle or anything like that. For rugby league, I've come to Canberra and started playing rugby league and loved every second of it. Like that's what I wanted to do. I'm not great and I haven't been playing since a kid, so I'm just learning new things and hanging out and getting on the grog with the girls. But it's always a good time.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. And like, I come every now and then. I'm fortunate that I'm able to come and watch. Like, even when you're playing for the UC Stars, when I get the opportunity to either watch when you're playing for the tackle team or even the league tag team, because those are the games I actually watch the most. Because, well, fortunately, a couple of my mates and my former housemate played for the league tag team, and honestly, couldn't care who it is as long as you're playing your guts out. That's all I'm there to watch.
We're all having a good time. And on that, like, just women's sports in general, like the Diamonds, they really severely have been, like I know the World Cup's been big in the media, but they haven't been put to the forefront, which I think is a crime.
They got absolutely robbed of the attention that they deserve.
Agreed. So they're number one in the world, and we have so many number one teams for different sports. Mm-hmm. I think, honestly, the Tildas are one of the lower ones, which is fine. Like, they're doing their best. They're having a good crack. Yeah. But we have so many number one teams for so many different sports in Australia for women, and it's just we need that to come forward. Like cricketers, I know the women outshined the men, which is not to say that the men don't do a good job, but they just do. That's facts. Yeah,
it's like, it's just with the netball. So I've very recently, in the last couple of years, have started following netball. Not religiously, but to a point where I want to know what the results were, or I want to know who's playing when and where. Because I started playing mixed netball, beginning of 2022, and this year I played in the ACT State League for South Canberra.
Yeah, you
did. In the men's comp. So obviously it was an experience for me, and I enjoy playing netball, and I'm going to continue playing netball. But it's awesome to see how the fact that in our team we trained with and alongside the women's players. And it was so good to even just like learn off them and watch them play. And then this is very off topic, but like then when you talk about, I guess, netball in Australia, in order for it to grow, you need to be backing the younger generations to get up there. And I just don't think that netball's getting what they deserve. I know football is now getting that and more, and they deserve even more. But the fact that it was just on at the same time as our women's netballers, it just felt like they didn't get that opportunity to shine on a media scale. Like, obviously they shone by winning gold at the World Cup in South Africa, but they didn't get the attention they deserved or the recognition. Obviously, Matilda's doing their thing. Love that so much. But like, where's it just... It feels like they were hard done by to an extent.
Yeah, it's like when two major celebrities die at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I wish I was making comedy out of a situation, but it's literally how that is. Yeah. Like one's very much covered in the media and it's all over the show and there's black and white photos of them everywhere, and then the other person they just kind of forget about until 2 years later somebody goes, oh, where's that person? Oh, yeah, they died.
Oh, I literally only... It like really all depends on how the media want to put into it. Like, I remember... Actually, it was last week. I can't remember his name, but he was... I know this is so off topic, but some Mythbusters... one of the Mythbusters...
one of the fellas? One of the two major ones?
Not the two major ones. One of the extra 2 or 3 that were on that team that like were making stuff blow up and whatever. It turns out he died.
There you go.
I can't remember his name for the life of me, but Mythbusters' death. Grant Imahara. I'll show Maggie the picture.
Guy.
He died during COVID. Like in 2020. He died of a of a ruptured intracranial aneurysm.
In 2020.
In 2020.
That dude.
Yeah, that dude. He was 49. But yeah, I had no idea, and that all depends on how much the media want to put into it. And obviously, like Mythbusters is pretty all right here, but it's not the most popular thing in the world not the most popular thing in Australia anyway. But
I still love it.
Like, I remember watching videos all the time, and he would be on there, and all of a sudden, I find out literally last week, he passed away. I was like, how long ago? 2020.
It's crazy.
And that's like just the power of media and how people find out things, and then pulling that back on track to sport and how that affects
on the right track.
Back on the right track with the Women's FIFA World Cup and the Women's Netball World Cup. It just goes to show how powerful the media is in influencing the attention a sport gets, or how much, in the end, how much money they get.
Yeah, I'm just glad they got behind the Matildas.
Oh, yeah, and the Matildas got behind them as well.
Yeah.
That they were posting about them when it was their final. It's just, yeah, good on the netballers. Proud of them coming first.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's hopefully down the track they're not put on at the exact same time. Obviously, that's not an Australian thing that gets organised, but surely one day. Hopefully.
Yeah. Talking about, like, being a young person and having big dreams of doing things like this and being able to, as a woman coming forward. Ellie Carpenter, she grew up in Cowra.
Mm-hmm.
There's a photo that the Department of Education for New South Wales have released.
I saw it.
Yeah, of her saying, when I grow up I want to play for the Matildas, which has been an absolute fabulous way to just tie everything together and just be like, look, young girls can have these dreams and they have the opportunities to go for those things regardless of where you're from. If you're from the sticks, the city, if you're living on a house that's over a lake, wherever you're from, you can and you will if you want to.
Yeah, and she's only 23 years old.
That's crazy to me.
She's 23 years old. Like you said, out from Cowra. She's played for Canberra United in the A-Leagues, played for Western Sydney, from what this post says, played for Melbourne City, has taken her talents over to the US to play for Portland, and she's won a Champions League with Olympique Lyon, the French football club, which is just, it's crazy. And like you said, it's possible. You got to work your butt off for it, but
God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure Ellie has, and you look at where it's taken her to a World Cup in your own backyard in front of friends, family, and 75,000 people watching you, plus the rest of the country.
Yeah, that's insane. All right, so we've talked a lot of World Cup and a lot of soccer and a lot of women's sport in general today, actually. So we're going to pan now to Quidditch, or better known as quad ball, because we don't like turfs. Quad ball. Rory, do you want to take us away?
Alrighty, so this is from a lovely little Google search on the Quad Ball Australia page. So what is quad ball? Quad ball is a competitive sport growing rapidly around Australia and the world. It started one afternoon in 2005, two students from Middlebury College in Vermont, USA, where they decided rather than playing bocce, they would have a go at trying to play Quidditch instead, with a group of friends trying to create their real-life version of Quidditch or quad ball, which is quite interesting.
I mean, I've seen a couple of live games just in passing, but the most knowledge I have on quad ball is the movie The Internship, where they're at Google and they're hanging out and Dylan O'Brien's there and Owen Wilson. Wow.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, but running with sticks between your legs just seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen for me personally. Like, I am a very coordinated person.
I'm not. So I can tell you now, I'd trip and fall, but that's fine. Good on them, because look, personally, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But clearly, it's got a big audience, and you know what? I back it. Big yes. But yeah, no, it's a interesting one. It turns out there's got quad ball in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria. They've got their own little associations and governing bodies.
I was about to say ANU.
ANU have one? I think so. I have heard that. We don't have one at UC, but I know there is one at ANU. But yeah, no, that's my random sport for the week.
There you go. Yeah, my favourite bit of this weird, wacky sport is the snitch aspect of it. Do you know what the snitch aspect of it is?
I don't even know what the snitch aspect of it is, but I'm interested to find out. I'm trying to find the rules as we go.
So I don't know if it's a certain time or what happens or if it's random. There's this person in a yellow one piece, and by one piece I mean like morph suit.
Oi.
Like fully covered, and then has like a yellow sock with a ball attached to the back of them.
You know what? I think I'd rather be the snitch.
No, it sounds like a bit of fun.
I think that might be the most fun of it all because, yeah, I've just found a big old PDF about it with all 162 pages of the official rule book on how to play quad ball. I'll tell you now, I'm not reading that right now. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of reading. I don't even read books, let alone a stinking PDF. So that's for another day. But I reckon check it out because there is so much information. It's ridiculous. It's got a big field. Yeah, you know what? Look it up. I should have done more research on this earlier and later last week. But I'll tell you now, it's interesting. I won't play it.
Have you seen the snitch run?
No, I haven't. But
they run full pelt all around the field until somebody grabs the ball out, from the sock. In them. So I feel like if I was playing Quidditch, even though I'd have a stick between my legs, I'd crash tackle them.
Yeah, I'd trip over myself.
Oh, poor bugger.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm kind of befuddled.
Do they use actual broomsticks or is it just like a stick?
They've got a stick, which, thank goodness for that because bugger trying to find I'm sure they would have legitimate Quidditch sticks, like Quidditch made, like sticks just made for this.
Yeah,
you couldn't just have a random stick, could you? Like if this is an official sport, you would need to have. Imagine going into Rebel Sport and saying, "Can I have a quad ball stick, please?"
Well, I was thinking, imagine going into Bunnings to the broom section and having the dude in green ovals turn around and be like, "The broom chooses the right arm."
Just have a Quidditch corner at Bunnings. Bro, we got special brooms.
Hey, bet.
We've got brooms for the floor and we've got a broom for you.
Big white coats one.
Yeah.
With the good bristles.
All we need is one that flies.
Yeah, I want an outdoor grade one, please. Yes.
Yeah.
Steel bristles might be a bit of maybe they ban steel bristles.
Do they have? Oh my god! I want the Nimbus 2000. That'd be nice.
I wonder what that would be. Broom. What's the equivalent broom wise? You reckon?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I struggled to use the one I've got at home.
That's fair.
So
you wouldn't want a dustpan and broom that. That might be a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, thank you. That can get in the bin.
Alrighty.
But yeah, no, that's quad ball for you. It's interesting. I don't know half the rules, or if I'll be honest, any of the rules. I've just found equipments and dimensions in the rule book, which clearly they keep updating because this is the 2022 model. Yeah, I can't get over it. I'm kind of in shock.
Fair enough. So
this is too much for what day is it today?
It's a Monday that we're recording this.
Oh, yeah, no, it's too early in the week to be learning a new sport. But I'll tell you this much: go for gold. It's a lot of running. I'll stick to netball though.
That's fair. There seems like a lot of running in that anyway. We were just looking at the rules of quad ball and the different cards you get. What was the blue one for again?
Using illegal additional equipment in play. There's a blue card, but then there's a captain blue card, then there's a yellow card, there's a red card, and then there's just flat out ejection from the game. So I think a lot of it is like, for example, one of the penalties is either ejection for wearing forbidden jewelry or red card for wearing forbidden equipment.
Right.
I read that. Yeah, I read that correctly.
So if you did go in with a Bunnings broom, you'd be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. Literally, if you went to the wrong part of Bunnings, you're screwed. Or, yeah, no.
So I know quite often in sports, the red card is known as like the cabanossi, as my mate Harry says.
Nice.
Which is funny because we're talking about Quidditch that I've realised. The yellow's the cheese, as always. I know Randy Feltface has had quite a bit to pick about blue foods.
Oh, yeah?
But what would a blue card be?
Bruh.
Because
like in this or in life?
Like, so cabanossi is red.
Oh.
Cheese is yellow. What would a blue card be?
I was going to say blue cheese, but you can't do cheese twice. As much as I'd love cheese, you can't put it into two. Oh, what could you do? Oh.
That might be the question for the week then.
What would the blue card be?
Yep, so on Instagram at...
Powerade?
Powerade, maybe?
Could be Powerade. Could be... What else is blue?
Yeah, so on Instagram at ontherighttrack.podcast, what would the blue card be, colloquially known as, which is like a nickname?
Yeah.
Let us know, and we'll bring it up next week if there's any response. There was no response to my question last week, but that is A-OK. I'll ask Rory anyway. Last week we asked... if there was an 18th team added to the expansion of NRL, what would the mascot be?
Oh, the mascot?
What would the mascot be?
Does it depend on which team?
Well, we're thinking Perth-Melbourne is what we were talking about last week, but...
I personally don't think there should be another team. Is that controversial?
A little bit, but that... I mean, fair.
Yeah. Well, if there is, I reckon the Bears.
The Bears?
North Sydney Bears, except you relocate them because they've got a fan base.
Yeah, righto.
Obviously, it's a little kick in the guts to those in North Sydney that have stuck by them through their NRL and non-NRL era. But, yeah, no, I'd go with the Bears. Unless we're trying to get creative.
I was thinking like geckos would be really cool.
Ooh, that's not bad. Goannas?
Goannas, yeah, I'd shout that.
Dude, Greg Inglis could be the reason a team is called the Goannas. I'd be so okay with that. He's sick.
He'd coach it.
But yeah, what other? There's Goannas. If we're going with Komodos.
But that's technically dragons too, isn't it? Then.
True. No, you can just rebrand the dragons. Rebrand them. They need a fresh start anyway. They're not doing too great to start off with.
Poor buggers.
Yeah, but it's fine because at least the Panthers are doing good.
I hope the Broncos get you. I really do. All the love in the world, Rory, but I hope someone beats you this year.
I think everybody hopes someone beats us this year. And you know what I have to say to that? Nah. Nah, that's fine.
I'm not.
Panthers can win.
All right. I'm sure that if the Panthers win, you'll get a 3-peat shirt.
Oh, 100%. I've gotten the last 2 jerseys because of it.
So if the Panthers win, I will wear a 3-peat shirt.
Oh.
If the Panthers win this year, I'll wear a 3-peat jersey. I know Mum made...
Wait, hold on. Are you confident they will or are you not confident they will?
I'm confident somebody else will take it out.
Really?
Yeah, so if the Panthers win, I'll wear a 3-peat shirt. I know Mum made a bet with
spicy.
her teacher's assistant to do with the Panthers, and she had to wear jerseys for a week.
Ooh.
Poor bugger. As an Eels fan, that was not good for her. This has devolved into NRL, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's my personality, basically.
Look, wait, you said your mother's a Parramatta fan.
Yeah, I know. She's a diehard.
Look, I'd be lying if I said I was upset when I found out they're not making finals this year. I can confirm I was quite as a diehard Panthers fan, I was pretty thrilled. Well,
I mean, I was there watching it last year with Mum actually, and both para teams made the finals, as I've said last week. And
unfortunate for the overall result of both of those teams.
Both of those teams.
Both teams lost.
Oh my.
Yeah, and the worst part is in the men's game, it was a bit of a blowout.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad. I was honest. I was the Panthers at the time. We had everybody going at it. It was great. But, for the Eels fans that go through it, my condolences. But I don't feel bad whatsoever. I'm so sorry. But, yeah.
I don't think I have any words. just like to thank all the listeners out there for tuning in today, and whichever day that you happen to be listening to this on. I want to thank Rory for coming in the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. It's always a pleasure. Just a reminder of the question of the week, which has just escaped my memory as I'm talking about it.
I remember talking about what the mascot would be for the NRL.
Yeah, that was last week.
What would the blue card be?
What would the blue card be in Quidditch? What food or what item would you associate
Red
that
is
to?
cabanossi, yellow is cheese.
Yep.
Blue.
What's blue?
I don't know.
Well, DM me at ontherighttrack.podcast on Instagram. And if you want to send us any weird and wacky sports to talk about, feel free to flick those on through too. This has been On the Right Track on UCFM 87.8.